Okay, so it's never too late. Because if you know that the colonel who founded Kentucky Fried Chicken, so he got his entrepreneurship started at 60 years old. So that's the reason why I become an entrepreneur at 50, because he motivated me that it is never too late. So in life, you got to start somewhere. So I think you hear the saying like failing to try, or is a guaranteed failure. But if you try, there's still a component of success. So it doesn't matter where you are at your time zone right now. So yeah, I mean, there's always hope for tomorrow, right?
The important thing is like you have this it's possible kind of mentality when you approach something. Like no dream is too big, right? It's like
no dream is too small.
Yeah, exactly. No dream is too small. No dream is too small, no dream is too big. Just be daring to dream, I think.
True. And I always advocate that I'm quite proud that I'm a daydreamer.
It's very important to keep the dream.
I mean, honestly, how much does it cost you to pay for a cup of coffee? From $2 to $10 cup of coffee, and you sit down there for 3 or 4 hours. That's why in my background, I also was a school drama actress. Maybe really? I like to watch a lot of, I can watch Tamil show, Arabic show until the TV goes zzz. But I mean, that is where, sometimes we immerse in the drama because they show us the dream that we don't have. But you feel nice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if in case we don't marry a handsome man, but okay, you look at the handsome man in the show, okay, still got a handsome man to work. I'm just joking, but I'm just kidding, okay? So, but it's like, okay, there's always this real world and a dream world. So we need to have a balance. So the best is to be able to turn dream to reality. And your reality will stay reality, hopefully. It's not a busted reality. So it's like having a cup of coffee and have that vision to dream, so that you know that you have a path. Even when you want to drive a car, you want to drive from destination A to B. In your brain, you already have a destination. That's how you get started with a car. Of course, you can drive headlessly anywhere in Singapore. It doesn't matter, but it may lead you to nowhere, right? So it hasn't got to be so complicated. But why I think it's important to be a dreamer at times in the midst of reality is that it gives you hope. So we also know that when people get into depression or eventually, unfortunately, decided to stop moving on in life and for whatever, the most drastic case is because they don't have hope, they don't have vision, they don't see what is the next step ahead. So there's this book that my boss gave to me, is 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, 3 steps forward. Is that sometimes we just need to pull the brake. It's just like sometimes you have to fill up petrol for your car. You got to bring your car for maintenance. So this is what I would advocate, taking stock in our life. So you can chart a 1 month, 3 months, half a year or 1 year plan or whatever. But at different time zone, you just take stock to check reality versus dream. So it's not
otherwise you get lost in your own pursuit. Like it becomes so familiar, you get lost.
So like what just now you mentioned to me, well, it could be like, oh, YouTube is the thing to go, boom. So it's like, I think you hear me that I said, no, wait, let me pull back. Not that I don't want to.
No, what I meant is videos.
Example. I'm just citing an example because getting into action and not getting the right direction can be dangerous. So you need to couple direction first, then action. Then you will have a mitigated or guaranteed certain degree of success. So even whether you are a student, you have a study plan or not, it's like study what, how to study, all this you backtrack and see. Even if I'm in a sales job, whole of Singapore is my market, so what? Where do you start? But if let's say the business is at this part of Singapore, but you start here, then by the time 3 months later, game over because your runway is over. So that is why I say I always advocate strategy first, then coupled with timeline and your action plan and your KPI. So that all this you have to monitor and do a round robin check now and then to make sure that everything is.
I kind of get a sense that there is like two different principles when to this kind of approach, like to calculate a more calculated one or a anyhow do one. What's your thought on the successful anyhow do one? You think there is such thing or not? Like you just wait. Every content you post out.
Okay, so to date, I'm not a successful YouTuber yet. So I need to work towards success, right?
Yeah.
So of course, it's like take one step back to look at the successful people who have done. And then it's like you realize that those people who are successful, they actually have a strategy. Of course, we still allow a margin of failure along the way. But that failure is meant to be nearer to success.
Yep.
So that is called a build-up of knowledge base. So of course, what I'm trying to say is that if you look at successful people, they actually collect data. And they come out and see what are the plus and the minus. And then after that, they come up with a system, a repeatable success. So in anything we do in life, even maybe this morning, have you sort of like sorted out today what you want to do?
Yeah, every day got certain things must do one. Like
so you already have some visibility of what you want to do. But of course, there are times when we don't have a plan. Today can be a lost day. So the 24 hours just whiz past without knowing. Or it could be the other way around. We are very busy, but end of the day, we don't feel accomplished. So basic
I think it
personal
affects
discipline.
the person's. It either affects the person's mood or the person's mood drove the approach. Like some people are very reactive and they perform better reactive. Some people are very proactive and they perform very proactive. I find that both ways that there is have to see the character.
Sure.
So because if you throw me like a very, because I'm quite like plan like so I take longer to jump into something, less impulsive lah. So that one has its advantages and disadvantages. I find that the disadvantage is I fail less, I learn less, I explore less.
Why?
Because it's all in the head. Like what I want to do is all in my head instead of what is reality. Instead of what the reality feeds back to me. Like I can think this, think that, right, before I start acting, right. So it doesn't give me real time feedback like what the reality is.
But eventually, did you put that plan into action?
Yes. So, but you see, I can have so many plans. I cannot put all the plans into action. So I pick which one probably is the easiest route or probably is the more predictable route. Then I try that one. So there are a few that fell off. Like there are a few like stupid plans that fell off. That maybe years later you see someone do it, then I had that idea, but I just didn't believe in it enough.
So if you ask me,
or rather I didn't try, get down to it.
Because we have limited resource and capacity, so don't have to be so hard on ourselves. But I think there are pros and cons. Some people say you plan, then you don't take action. So, but if you have taken action, it's actually already half the success done. But if you ask me, no point looking back at those not done, right? But if you have done it, you may not have the success that the other person have. So net, it's a bit like RQ.
Correct.
I mean, that's how we keep ourselves.
Find your own ground.
That's how we keep ourselves positive, right? We cannot always mellow on, what if? Because what if has already gone past. So now what should I do? Is that
what's next?
What's next?
What's next?
And okay, so he has succeeded. So if I start now, can I do better than him? He motivates me. He has done it and he has been successful.
I cannot look at other people. I prefer to just
it's
focus
okay.
on
So
what
it depends
I want to
on
do
your
and then like
depends on your personality. Because there's also a school of thought say don't focus on your competitor, for example.
Okay.
There's another school of thought is do better than your competitor. So use him as a benchmark. So there's actually no right or wrong answer.
And I find that it might be a different time to apply those two principles. those two principles are very people have definitely like two very distinct groups are like I believe in following competitor, having a benchmark, having a goal, a target, that kind of thing, having a good example to follow. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is I have an idea that I want to do. I don't care what the market is. I don't care what the competitor does. I just want to do well in this and see what happens. So both, I think, is timing lah. Timing is very important. Like it might be at the start state you want to be this, and then later on you want to be that.
So if you look at Steve Jobs, right? Does he have a predecessor? So if you are the innovative type, then it's better don't look at anybody. So we have to know ourselves.
Yeah.
If I'm an innovator and you look left, you look right, you realize that nobody in the market is doing it. And you should be the first one, you know? But of course, if you have the philosophy is that because nobody is doing it, probably other people also have thought about it and they probably think it didn't work, you know? So how we think will propel how we act. So in life, there's nothing called 100% certainty, right? Yeah. If you don't try, you never know. Yep. So it is also your own philosophy in life. What kind of things, what kind of action plan do you adopt to make good of it? So there's nothing wrong. Then of course, you know, there's a left, there's a right, there's a middle path. It's like you do the hybrid. So as far as I'm concerned, it's very, keep complex equations simple. If this is the KPI you want, or this is the end destination you want, along the way you can toggle between A, B, or middle ground and see whether are you edging nearer. That's how, if you ask me, is to keep life simple. So as long as you reach there, along the way you can adjust it accordingly.